I'm with you guys. We just go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you guys. Just go ahead and we'll call to order. We got a quorum. Why don't we ask Sid to go ahead and lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll go from there.
Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did it.
Thank you so much, Sid. Now we'll go to Josh. Go ahead, give us announcements, acknowledgements, correspondence, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, so the big announcement here, of course, is that at last for a board meeting, the board did approve the funding request from the county, which included 3 years of funding for the Monterey County Office of Veterans Affairs. I see Jason Cameron's giving it a big thumbs up here on the screen. And so I think it just speaks to the board's prioritization of continued prioritization of and support for the veterans community. I think it also is a testament to the continued advocacy by this group, Sid and Jack and Rich and everybody who made the time to write letters and advocate. So I think job well done.
I see someone from M, but I don't know.
The other announcement, of course, is that next Tuesday at 5 p.m. FORA will be history. So it's somewhat, well, I think it's a big deal in that this organization's been around for 26 years and has had many accomplishments, which have been summarized in various places up to now, but in the most recent board packet, there's a executive officers report that goes through that summary as well, includes notable, work with the veterans community on the Central Coast Veterans Cemetery, the support of the Veterans Transition Center, the development of the joint DoD VA clinic, and other steps, including this recent funding. So, all of that wouldn't have happened without FORA in place and the regional collaboration that it represented. And while many will argue and debate for days to come, likely that the pros and cons of what was accomplished, I think, at least from where I'm sitting, it's quite tremendous set of accomplishments, and those are among them. So I hope you'll join us for our last board meeting tomorrow, and that's all I have for now. Thank you. Shall we go on? Why don't we move to then public comment, item 4. Any members of the public wishing to address the committee on matters not on the agenda may do so. Please raise your hand in the Zoom. Excuse my dog, apologies.
Can you hear me, Josh? Do we have any participants?
Not seeing any.
Okay. All right. We'll go on to next. I was muted, but I wanted to say I appreciate your comments and the work you have done in this committee, particularly since you've taken over, and especially over the last several months to get us to this point with your advocacy for the continuation of the support from the county of the VIAC. And of course, a big hat to Jack and Sid and their teams for continuing to press the county, and then for Jason for his leadership on taking it over, letting us know exactly what he needed to move it over to that department. I'm sure that's what made the county comfortable. And so I just want to tip my hat to all of you guys that made it happen. So we look forward for the group to move over and be shepherded in underneath Jason, and Jason continue his excellent work on behalf of all the veterans here in the county. We'll go on and close public comment. Josh, if no one weighed in.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to business item number A, affordable housing. That's the event transition center.
Hi, no significant updates for us on our existing housing projects. There's been a little bit of a delay in securing the funding for Light Fighter Village, which is the 71-unit permanent supportive housing project. It's still on track, but that project has slid to the right, delayed essentially by about 1 quarter. The good thing is that we received $700,000 towards that project recently, and that's with our developer. So, you know, it's one of those things, we're inching closer, but it's getting there. With regards to, I guess, a non-FORA interest, but certainly of interest to the veteran community, the enhanced use lease for the former VA clinic is building a lot of momentum. We are in the process of soliciting VA, or actually not soliciting, asking for VA approval to switch development teams. We were approached by a rather large and impressive consortium of development experts who all want to participate in that program. So that will take us a lot further, I think, than what we previously designed. So that's an exciting change to future prospects at VTC. Subject to your questions or comments.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll go to B, Post FORA Advisory Committee, and I know, Josh, you just mentioned something about it, but either Josh or Jason, you just want to take a few minutes to talk about how the smooth transition will take place, and maybe potentially when you'll call the members together, or how would it look? Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, so over the last few days and continuing probably up until our closing, we'll be, you know, completing all our financial transactions, including funding the county for the amount that was requested. I believe is around $351,000. And then we would look to Jason and his good team over there and capabilities to just seamlessly continue the meetings of this group or another group as appropriate. So I then asked Jason to weigh in on from there.
Thanks, Josh. So first, just wanted to thank everybody that was involved with continuing this on and having it go ahead and move over to our office. It's definitely the right place for it to be, and the funding was an absolute necessity. I apologize. I'm here at home today. I actually took today off. It's my son's birthday. So he's 3, so he'll make a little racket in the background for everybody. So what I've done so far in preparation for the funding is I've completed what we call a request to classify, which is essentially creating this position. So within the county, everything's got to be, you know, buttoned up and dialed in. So I've created this request to classify. I've completed the budget request, which is obviously funding that's coming from FORA. Working on the organization, working on the organizational aspects for us as well. Now my wife is intercepting the child. So in any case, so we've done all the footwork up till now. This should all come to a head at the same time when it comes in from FORA. At that time, we'll probably be putting out the request to go ahead and get the job rec opened up and start the recruiting aspect. What I foresee is we will probably have one meeting before we actually have somebody on board, possibly 2 meetings before we have the official person in place, which is fine. I have already received over all the contact lists of everything that we have currently from Harry. I have also received stuff in from folks prior as well in preparation. So I don't envision there to be much hiccups, but we'll really be looking at probably a couple months of a transition, get the new person in place, and then really start trying to bolster up and make this even bigger and badder than it is currently. That's kind of the forward plan from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Josh?
Yeah, I have a question.
Rafael Hernandez.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Okay. I know there's going to be a transition period, and I think that what we need to do is, as the current VAC, we need to get our collective gear together here and come up with some bylaws, because I know the replacement agency is going to require bylaws, whoever that is. I don't know who it is, actually, but we're going to have that, and it's going to be under Jason's. You'll be the administrative person on this from the county, and I think we need to start working on the bylaws and leave the hiring aspects up to you, and whatever team you form to go through that hiring process. It's going to be, having dealt with the county myself for years, I know it's a long process. The announcements have to go out, 90 days or something like this. And so it's going to be a long process. I think we can do a lot in the interim by getting our bylaws together and formulating the makeup of the committee. We're the ones that's going to make up the recommendations, and we've more or less done that in the past already. We've agreed that the city's going to be involved. We've got representatives from the cities, from various outfits. So I think we need to get that done as soon as we can. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
This is Candy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Jack, I think that's a wonderful idea. Do we have the access to the information from FORA about when VIAC was first established under FORA so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel?
Are you asking me? Yeah, we do have it. I don't know. I think probably Robert Norris had it in his files, and probably it got passed on down as they whittled down the staff. I don't know. You may have it, or Harry may have it. I'm not quite sure. Josh?
Yeah, well, if you go to the VIAC webpage, the committee charge is there. If you're looking for more than that, then I would have to do some digging.
Yeah, I know there was a order, it went through the board to affect it, the start date, everything else. So it's doable. It's just going to take some hands-on. That's all.
Yeah, to my knowledge, traditionally there's a charge developed for each committee, and then that serves as sort of the guiding policy document for the committee. So we're happy to do additional research if needed.
This is going to seem like, and I think I know what Candy's getting to. We need somewhat of a continuity file from FORA on the actions taken by VIAC in order to transfer that data over to Jason's office.
Yeah,
Do you
so,
think that's appropriate, Jason?
the FORA.org website will be still live, and all the material for this committee are stored on the web page, including from the first meeting, which was March 28th of 2013. So that has the agenda, the packets, and the minutes that have been approved for all the meetings since then to now.
That was my
That will
dog.
still be there.
Jason, Jason, sorry, Josh, Candy, if I may, Mr. Chair, is there, excuse me, any takedown time for the FORA website, or will it be there for quite some
The county's
time?
going to keep it alive for indefinitely. They're going to move it over their servers and keep it alive because it's an asset that is needed for many of the jurisdictions, especially the ESCA that has at least an 8-year horizon. So it'll be around for the next decade or more.
Okay, thanks. So so are you suggesting that one of us or Jason's office, somebody go through the FORA website, or are you saying that that's a task that you can accomplish to pass on to Jason's office?
I would say just use the website. It's all there. Everything is there. So it will be there for 10 years. And if you need it for reference, it will be there for you to use. We really, if need be, I think we could probably export a folder with everything that we have in our web, in the back end of the website. It's kind of the same thing, but then really the easiest thing is to just go to the website. And Jason's a smart guy. I know he knows how to do all that.
No, I have smart people working for me. So what I envision is all the stuff that's living on the current FORA site under VIAC would just be, although it's still going to live there, we'll probably duplicate it and put it on our website under our committees and commissions section. So it'll live in the Military and Veterans Affairs website. And then if it shuts down on the county side 10 years, 15 years down the road, it'll still be on ours because we're carrying, hopefully, ideally, this will carry on forever.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want, I can ask Jen Simon to export we have a single, we can put it in a zip file, which would have all the materials that are in there, and then your team can work with it.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I see that Jen has sent me a note here saying she is happy to do that and will get it to you. Anything else? Candy?
No, that's great. Thank you so much for this discussion.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Let's go to item number C then.
Is Rich on the line? This is Candy.
I'm not sure.
Once I unmute myself, yes, I am on the line.
Oh. Okay, well, go ahead.
And not much, like Jack had to say, not much to report because the foundation board has not met since our last meeting. About the only thing that's in motion is we have come up with a concept. I'm not ready to call it a plan, but a concept for the donor wall, because as those of you who've been involved with this for a while know, part of a great deal of our fundraising had to do with the promise of having a donor wall to commemorate either the people making the donations or in the memory of people they were making donations for. So we do have a concept. We're getting that reviewed by both the foundation board and trying to get some input from outside that. I'm not going to be any more specific than that at this point. And then it'll be taken to the monuments committee for the cemeteries at Calvet, and we'll see how it goes. And beyond that, Candy, do you have anything?
I really don't. The donations there are some continuing to come in. They are not substantial at this point, and maybe I'm covering that under the fundraising also. A lot more vase requests, but not a lot of major donor contributions. And as far as we know, the construction is continuing on schedule, and staff has now begun, you may have already covered this, I'm sorry, has already begun placement services again, including honors, but the groups have to be the 10 persons or less. So there are no big events planned or going on out there.
And I apologize. I just sort of jumped in because I heard, Rich, do you have anything to say? But this would probably be more appropriately Erica's.
Oh, yes. Well, that's true. It's probably, well, I don't know. It says foundation. I don't know.
So Erica, are you out there?
I don't think Erica's on, but I can tell you.
I am, yeah.
Oh, you are?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
Go ahead.
Good.
Well, I don't have anything else to add. Candy covered it. It sounds like the, but thank you, Candy. I appreciate that. The services are resuming, but yes, it is limited sizes.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's move on.
I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead, Jack.
I had some inquiries come through me regarding the size of the ceremonies being 10 or less. And I think that the other cemetery, except for Yountville, they can have up to 100 people. And I'm concerned that we have a few ceremonies here that's going to be quite well attended. One is going to be for Edith Johnson, and you can expect probably a couple hundred people for that. But we have adequate space in our containment area, if you will, for lack of another word, our assembly area, right near the flag. I think we could accommodate with social distancing there and accommodate at least 100 people or so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we need to ask CDVA for additional people allowable at these ceremonies, even if we have to go out into that area, because a lot of families are waiting and they're quite angst about the whole thing, and we've come to a standstill somewhat. And I'd like to see us get back on track.
Well, Jack, it's funny. You've burned in my mind that I should have written Erica Parker, because it's not Erica Cheney, it's Erica Parker. I'm happy to. No, don't worry. I'm happy to check in with Calvet and see, because my understanding is the limited size was because the shelter is so small. But you do make a valid point that by the flagstaff there are a lot more space. So I'm happy to check in and see if they have any flexibility with that. Do you have any deadlines that the services are planned, or are these just in the future services?
Well, the one in particular is Edith Johnson, who is really going to be a large contingency out there.
Right.
And they're just waiting. The family, excuse me, the family has been waiting, for quite some time. Naturally, she passed away, and they would like to get it done as soon as possible. But they're flexible somewhat. But the longer you wait on these larger groups, there must be some way the cemetery staff can go by and say, how many people do you anticipate showing up for the services? Sometimes I've been out there for some services, you're lucky to get 5, and
I think the issue is really, what is the max that they can accommodate? That's really the concern.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack, I'm happy to ask that question of Calvet for you.
I appreciate that, Erica.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go to D, Ward Military Community. Sergeant Major.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just a couple of quick things. So I sent your thanks on to the California Army National Guard as you requested in the last meeting, to the Camp Roberts Garrison Commander and Command Sergeant Major, and that was passed to them. So thank you very much. They really appreciated that. The second thing is, Jason, I'm going to reach out to you. I know previously we had an issue with UVNMA has van drivers for folks to get up to the VA clinic. I don't know what the status of that is now, but my mom just moved here from North Carolina. She is retired and has a CDL, and she would very much like to volunteer to help out with that. Last thing that I have is the 9th of July, we're going to do a change of command ceremony. It's going to be very small. Colonel Ford is retiring. It's going to be Facebook streamed live. So if you go to either the Presidio Monterey homepage or to the USAG Palm Town Hall page, you'll be able to watch it there. Colonel Barman Chung, Special Forces officer who just got here from the U.S. Army Special Operations Command G3, is going to take over as the garrison commander. And that is it for me, pending your questions.
Could you repeat the name of the new commander? I'm sorry.
So his name is Barman Chung, and I will spell it, his last name phonetically for you. It is Charlie Hotel Oscar Echo Uniform November Golf.
Okay, thank you. And the first name again, sorry.
Barman Victor Alpha. Barman Victor Alpha Romeo Mike Alpha November.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, now we're to E, fundraising. That's you, Candy.
Yes, so I gave you my report already, which is we've got low fundraising response right now, and we are not planning any major events at this point in time, to my knowledge, for this year.
Any questions? I think we all understand why, but are there any questions from the group? Okay, let's go to F, VA DOD Clinic. I don't know if Mr. Bogan is on the call. Or anybody want to speak to any concerns with clinic or updates that they know of?
I know that they're not taking too many routine appointments right now. I also know that like for hearing aids and those kinds of things, they're postponing coming in until the end of the year at the earliest.
All right, that makes sense. Any questions? Let's go on to G, Military Veterans Affairs. Jason?
All right, so obviously we've been in this pandemic operating mode here at the office. All of my vet reps have been working from home, facilitating appointments via phone or video conference. That's been working out well. We are looking to start to migrate the team back into the office. We're prepping up for that. I'm envisioning next week being able to bring the team back into the office. maintaining social distancing and, face masks, hand washing, all the proper protocol. And have the team back in the office to where they can actually start working with each other.
That was me.
So with that, what we're looking at is probably a couple weeks from that date, we'll start to entertain doing some in-person appointments again. These in-person appointments will just be as needed. It's not the preferred method at this point, just given that we're still kind of in the midst of all of the coronavirus stuff. So, but in the event that somebody absolutely needs to be seen in person, which there are some folks that just need to function that way, they're not able to do it online or over the phone or what have you. So we will do that. It'll be a controlled flow, and we'll only have so many veterans or family members, dependents in the office at any given time. So we will have a controlled flow on that. We won't be looking to fully open back up to whatever normal is until California actually gets to the last phase of their 4-phase rollout, right? So, but we do want to get back to allowing for that in-person veteran to be seen, because we have quite a few out there that's really the way they need to be seen. So again, I would envision within the next 2 or 3 weeks that we'll be able to open that back up. Again, starting next week, I'm pulling the vet reps back into the office. So we'll fully be operating inside the office, but still virtually. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. I really felt it was important to get the team back together so they can acclimate to the workspace again and with working with each other and seeing everybody. So we are moving back toward that. What I am going to do right now is I'm going to share screen with you the monthly activity report for last month, which was May. And here it is. Hopefully everybody sees that. Is everybody able to see it coming up here?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, perfect. So we actually did a fantastic job administratively going through and making sure what awards came through. We pulled in over $600,000 in retroactive money to the veterans of this county in May. So last month, we pulled in over $500,000 of retroactive pay into the pockets of the veterans of this county. Now, given the time frame that this is, remember that a lot of folks were losing their jobs, having financial issues. So what better time than now for this to happen for these folks? What that $610,000 turned into is essentially ongoing monthly payments of $61,000 of new money coming into the county every single month. So we had a fantastic month last month in that aspect. We still filed 271 claims. One of the questions that Jack had last month was, where is this in comparison to, our normal operating procedures, being that we're working from home and doing everything virtually. It is still less than the average. We were usually in the high 300s, low 400s as far as claims filed. Claims take a little bit longer doing it virtually just because people's technical expertise varies. So some people take a lot longer to get through the process, and a lot of tutorial work teaching them how to utilize Zoom and so forth, and then just getting documents. So there is a lag time, which is why we want to get that in-person piece open back up as well, because those people aren't filing claims today either. So we did, again, still filed the 271 claims last month, fielded almost 800 phone calls. We're rolling into the college tuition fee waiver timeframe, almost $500,000 in college tuition fees waived for the dependent children of our disabled veterans in the county. We ended up mailing out here 2,000 flyers that we mailed out to pretty much everybody that I could find in the county that has a VA loan on their home. So if you had a VA loan on your home currently, we got a mailing list with all the names and addresses of the folks that had the VA loan on their home, and mailed out just a kind of a marketing letter, just trying to spread the awareness and increase the amount of folks reaching out to us. So that was a little extra stuff that we did during this time. We did do 3 outreach events, made 13 new contacts, obviously low numbers given the circumstances that we're currently in. Outreach is very limited. Our customer satisfaction surveys are back up and running. We pushed those out and we ended up receiving a 98% very satisfied. And again, that's because we're able to still function and get things done even in this time where we're kind of shut down. We're still making things happen for the vets of this county. So that concludes my report. Pending any questions.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jack, question.
Yeah, Jason, how expensive is the Zoom program to work with your BSRs?
It's not, we stole it from DSS. So we're not actually using, we're not really paying for it.
Okay, so it comes under the domain thing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, I think this will be a very valuable asset for your office in general by having this capability, you know, because we don't know what's going to go on with this pandemic. It's just bizarre, you know.
You're
so
right.
You're well prepared.
And if you remember, you know, probably 8 months ago or so, I was talking about utilizing some video conferencing to reach our reaches of the county. So we had started this process prior to the pandemic. I had 2 vet reps versed in being able to function in this modality, and then the pandemic hit. So I had 2 people that were already up and running, and we did some cross training in the office. Then the pandemic hit, and then everybody was forced to use it.
Yeah.
So you talk about good timing. I couldn't have got luckier with trying to get everybody up to speed on this. So it really worked out well. And you bring a good point that this is something that we're definitely going to be carrying into the future.
Yeah.
Any other question? Okay, thank you, Jack. We'll go now to H, calendar of events, and that's Josh.
Let's see, the big event I have is June 30th at 5 p.m. Our lights go out.
I guess there's nothing bigger than that, yeah.
Nothing bigger than that.
I do want to go back quickly and thank Josh for his work and the things that he keeps doing to reach out to the veterans community. I just, you know, he just keeps being more innovative every time I listen to his briefing. So I want him to know I really appreciate him looking out for the veterans. Okay, anybody else want to make announcements on upcoming events?
I do have one.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Just an announcement that the County Military and Veterans Affairs Commission will meet on the second Wednesday of the month, which I think is the 8th, at 3 p.m. It is going to be a live in-person meeting at Veterans Transition Center for those of you on this committee that are also on that commission. We will do it in the auditorium, which is the big room back towards the back of the building. We'll all come in through the back door. I'll have it open for you, so you can just come right in, bring your mask. You will receive an email, probably from Joe down at VSO's office, with all of the nominations attached to it, so that you can have those to look at before the meeting to help maybe streamline that process a little bit. So again, it will be in person at the VTC in the big back room, mask required.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Sid, just to follow up on that, are you going to have the public in there also, or it's just?
If we have public, they will be allowed to sit spaced along the wall and attend, just like any other county meeting.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, items from members. I think this is our last meeting, so it shouldn't be too many items, but are there any? And I think Jack made a good point about between this transition and when Josh I mean, when Jason calls for the first meeting, is to research the bylaws and just prepare that way. But does anybody else have anything as members?
I would like to say one thing.
Yes, of course.
I would just like to thank Josh and all of the FORA staff that has worked with the Veterans community here for all these many years. Some have gone, some are still with us. And Laura Vidauri has done things. Helen has worked with us. Jen has helped us along the way. Harry has helped since his advent. And Josh, personal guidance for all of the projects that we have dug out and put before the FORA board has been invaluable. And from my perspective as a veteran trying to deal with the reuse of FORA from the veterans community perspective, we couldn't have asked for a better set of partners than FORA.
Great. Thank you. It's been our pleasure and our honor to serve the community and the veterans, chief among them. So thank you.
Yeah, I've got a
Yeah,
few.
we'll just go around. We'll just go
Okay.
around the room for people to say a few words about their
Okay.
appreciation to the organization. So starting with you, Jack, and then we'll just go in order as you guys want to say something.
Well, you know, I could echo what Sid has said. We go way back to 1991 with when this organization was first started. And it's amazing how much of a friend for the Fort Ord Reuse Authority has been to the veterans community. They've bent over backwards all through this process, through thick and thin on the cemetery. That was just a killer for us, pardon the pun. But it was a long-lasting trek, and we finally got it done, and that was amazing. And it was thanks in large part to FORA. And of course, our Congressman, Sam Farr at the time also. And somehow FORA always redirected the board to do the right thing for the veterans community. And you'll stay in my heart forever.
You know, I can just say much of that credit is due to, of course, my predecessor, Mr. Michael Hulamard, and his team, you know, Robert Norris. You know, I simply follow in their footsteps of, you know, acknowledgement and respect for that. But Jack, I'll be sure to pass that along when I see and talk with Michael and Robert. Yeah. And but much appreciated by all the staff.
Anybody want to go next?
See, Erica Parker's got her hand raised.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
I thank you. Well, I want to echo the comments that have been made. Thank you so much FORA staff for really supporting this this group. And I rarely talk about the other side of things in terms of my job, but I wanted to let you know, since we are in this economic downturn, we help folks who are having issues with their unemployment insurance. And so if you hear of anyone who isn't getting payments, haven't heard from EDD, please send them our way. I just want to make sure that everyone knows we're a resource available for folks within the county. So send them our way if you have anyone who's having trouble.
Josh Metz will contact you on July 2nd.
Look forward to hearing from you.
That's right.
Briefly, from my foxhole as a veteran in our community, I think it's very notable when you sit back, or at least I sit back and consider that, you know, I moved to Monterey, I moved to California a little over 4 years ago as a retired Army officer, and just wanted to do something to continue helping veterans and service members in our community. You know, fast forward a relatively small period of time, you know, and I'm a member of the VIAC. I work at the Veterans Transition Center. I'm involved with the Veterans Treatment Court. I'm I have a great association with Jason and the Military and Veterans Affairs Office, and this staff within VIAC, both the present FORA staff and then former staff members like Michael and Robert. You guys are genuinely committed to serving service members and veterans in the community. It is easy to see, but it might not be, it's not easy to recognize sometimes, if you know what I mean. So I'm speaking as a veteran, I'm grateful to everyone in the organization for pushing the ball forward and providing the services and resources that our community needs. So thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll chime in.
Let me unmute myself. Yeah, and when I wrote my letter to the FORA board, I wrote more personally than organizationally. And so I don't want to reiterate everything I said, but as somebody who's worked in the public sector for more years than I care to mention, this organization has been one of the most interesting multi-interest groups I've ever worked with, and definitely one of the most effective. And it's been a pleasure to be involved in that. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was good comments. Who's next? Sergeant Major, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So hey, this is absolutely my first time with to be able to mix civilian and military together. This is totally outside of my comfort zone, and I am blown away by the effectiveness of this organization. I have been able to connect with our veterans, with our political leaders, with our county officials, and I mean it is mind blowing to me. Next Thursday will be the 24th year anniversary of when I entered the military, and this is only my second continental United States assignment. I have never been anywhere else in the U.S. besides Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And to see this community come together, it is absolutely, it touches my heart of how much this community as a whole cares about our military members. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for what you do. And, I know this is not the death of anything.
Oglesby move the motion.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I just, this is going to be, we're going to be a phoenix, and we're going to rise into something else and continue to care for this community. I just want to thank you all.
Well, thank you. Who wants to go next?
This is Jason Cameron. Josh, I just wanted to say, personally, I absolutely respect you, and I am so thankful that it was you there, and your commitment to the veteran community it has just been steadfast through this whole process, and your transparency with letting us know and guidance and leadership on how to bring this transition really to fruition in the most appropriate way in my mind was extremely helpful. And, compared to most people on this call, I have very little time or experience like some of these folks, the Sids, Jacks, and Riches, Mary, so they have the history piece down. I just have the immediate, last year and a half or so where I was really seeing where the rubber met the road. And, I'm just glad it was you. I'm glad that you were there. You followed the footsteps, like you said, but you could have chose your own and went rogue on us, and you didn't.
All right.
It's awesome. And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I see Katie.
Hi, Mayor. This is, thank you, Josh. Hi. So I just also wanted to express my thanks and the thanks from the congressman for everything that you all do, from the FORA staff to all the members and participants of the committee. It's just been a real honor to work with all of you and be a part of this group. And just really appreciate all the dedication shown to the veterans community, the military community. And I look forward to working with you all moving forward in a different fashion. So thank you.
I think you're in good hands with Mr. Cameron and the county. So
Yes.
takes a lot to grow a beard, and that's a big one.
Anyone else? Okay, there's no one else, so I'll go next. I think Josh said what not Josh, but Jason summed up what I wanted to say to you, Josh, is, you know, you didn't shy away from the responsibilities of FORA, and you didn't take a step back from what these veterans were asking you to do. And matter of fact, you figured out ways to make sure the FORA board seen that they had the ability to find monies for this mission. And, you know, there's nothing I can say or do other than to salute you for the process you put in place for this seamless transition over to the county's military affairs office. So, you know, yes, we appreciate Michael, we appreciate Robert, but you did not drop the ball or the baton or lose the pace. Whatever metaphor you want to use, your name is going to have to be up there with the rest of them on just total leadership as we shut down FORA and as we shut down this committee here. So your name will be in lights too, Josh. So we appreciate dedication. And without any other comments, maybe you want to say something before I ask for adjournment of the VIAC committee as it is underneath FORA.
Yeah, sure. First of all, just again, thank you all very much. It's humbling. You know, I again feel like I stepped into a role that was, you know, well put together by my predecessor. I feel like he was a great mentor for me and helped me understand about leadership and about the priorities in the area. He definitely helped me out with a context that wouldn't have been possible without him. So, but you know, I've been asked recently just about, you know, looking forward, what's going to be like without FORA, and you know, from where I'm sitting, you know, there's been a tremendous amount of good accomplished, major, you know, physical and community development processes completed and in place, and I just think there's a lot to look forward to, even amidst all this crazy that's going on in the world. You know, I think where we are in the Monterey Bay is a special place, and there's a lot of engaged people and a lot of potential. So I'm really looking forward to it, even though, like Jack said, I'll probably be calling up Erica for unemployment help on Wednesday. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
We have plenty of shops open at the Presidio. Just saying.
What was that?
This is Rob Launders. I'm just saying we have plenty of GS openings at the Presidio.
Oh, great. Yeah, well, send them my way. There's a couple of us still looking for our next landing spot. In fact, the folks that are on this call, Jen and Harry and I, we're all free agents. So, but luckily the board's been very, very generous in helping us make our own smooth transition that makes it a lot easier to do what we're doing and still keep a smile on our face. So.
well, good. And
people here, that's for sure.
But to be clear, I thought he said it's some jobs opening on the Presidio, so you guys make sure you check out all your options. But your reputation and I just take another 30 seconds because I want to say kudos to Harry. You know, I remember when he first showed up before it was even time for his position to be open, and for him to come back and wind up. Josh, you know, you made a great pick, but he has showed tremendous growth and leadership. And you should make sure that whatever type of letter that he needs in this file, you put one there, because for that young man, he just did outstanding communication and, you know, keeping his FORA board and these committees together and on track with all these agendas and things of that nature just is outstanding work. So if there's no further comments, we will see you guys around. We will see you in different capacities, and Godspeed. And that's to all the board members too. We'll see you guys soon.
All right. See you later.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
It's been fun.
Eric. It's been fun. All right. Out.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.